Hey y'all, it's Grandma back again. This is my last video for the day. I just want to come on and talk to some of you parents. You know, it's a new school year. We're going back to school. So I was watching this young girl. She was making a video about somebody had jumped on her daughter. You know, they was having a situation to happen at school. And I mean, she was really going off. She was mad, honey. She said, um, they done jumped on the wrong person's daughter, and just going off. Let me give a word of advice to you parents. Okay, I have two children. I've been a mother raising children, and you're gonna have to realize that. And I know about the bullying situation at school. Children do get bullied. They really do. And that's something we have to address as well. And and believe it or not, sometimes your little precious Billy can be the bully. Your little precious Mary can be the bully. I know at home they wonderful and fine, but when they get to that schoolhouse, baby, they turn into somebody else. Now I know that's hard for some of you parents to believe because your child just perfect. But let me tell you something. Sometimes your child can get from under you. Sometimes, and they can be the ones that's causing all the havoc. So what I want to say as a parent, you got children going to school. When things happen like that at school, as a parent, you have to be the calm one. You can't go to the schoolhouse talking about you gonna turn it out because somebody done mess with little Mary or little Billy. You can't go to the schoolhouse threatening everybody. You cannot do that. You have to be the mature, sound adult in this situation. Yes, it's bad if somebody does something to your child, but as the parent, what you have to do is calm yourself down before you go to the schoolhouse and get locked up. And then if you get locked up, then who's going to advocate for little Billy and little Mary? Calm down. Okay, your child calls you, lets you know something has happened to them at school. Okay, let the child know that you're aware of that, and you go to the schoolhouse. Now, when you go to that schoolhouse, don't go to the schoolhouse with one of these on. Don't do it, okay? Get yourself together and go to the schoolhouse and ask to speak with the principal. Good morning or good evening. How you doing? May I please speak with the principal? Once you get in there in the principal's office, they can call your child to the office and you all can have a conversation. That's how you handle things like that. And sometimes, if it's at all possible, you can meet with the other parents and have a conversation with those parents as well. But you can't jump on people's children, and you can't go jump on the teacher because they didn't call you and tell you. Things happen in school, but there's a way to resolve everything. But you can't go out there and turn into the She-Hulk because nothing's going to be resolved. We're looking for resolutions. We're looking for answers, but it's got to be done in an appropriate manner. Okay? These children, they are still children, and they do things they're not supposed to do when they're in school. But you can't go out there cutting the fool, honey. You can get it resolved. Okay? So I just want to say that to some of the parents, because some of you parents go to these, when they find out something is happening to their child, they just go to 100. Whatever their child say, that's what they believe. And they just take off. No. What your child say may be true. What your child say may not be true. I remember there was a time, honey, when my son was in school. I think he was in middle school. Yeah, middle school. I think it was in the 3rd or 4th grade. I can't even remember. He was young. And baby, my son had to start a whole little gang. He had some little boys fighting for him in the school. What? Where you get that from? I promise you, honey. He did. He did, honey. It was, but, everything was handled, and that's it. That's what I'm telling you. Your children would do some stuff, baby, that you ain't never thought they would do. They been done told you so many lies. Well, they did this and they did that, and they don't tell you what they did. That's why you got to hear the whole counsel of the situation. Because these are young people. They are young adults and they're growing up, honey. Do you hear me? Now, some places, some schools are more toxic than others. Because that school my son was, I had to take him out of that school and I put him in a private school. And he did well. He did well in that private school that I had put him in. But when he was in that other school, baby, no, honey, it was not working. Okay? So, but what I just want to say to the parents, don't be, just be a mature adult and know that you gotta be calm in these situations. You gotta handle them in a mature way. And I know sometimes you can't even talk to some people, parents, and there's other ways to handle that. And sometimes you might have to pull your child out of a school, or sometimes you just take other measures. But you can't go out there acting the fool, honey, because these folk will lock you up. And then, like I said, your child ain't gonna have nobody to advocate for them. But you got to be the adult and listen to the whole situation as to what happened. Just calm down. Don't go out there and embarrass yourself, embarrass your child and everybody else. These children are children. They're going to get into it sometimes with each other. They're going to fuss with each other because they're children. That's what they do. But it's always good to have a conversation if possible. I'm just the type of person, I believe you should never have to resort to violence to solve an issue between children like that. I just don't think you have to. I just don't see why a situation would get that out of hand. And you can't jump on people's children. I know they might have done something to your child, but you can't go out there and jump on little 7-year-old Mary. And you a big grown woman or a big grown man. You can't do that. You're going to jail. Okay, so ladies, you young parents that's got kids in 4th, 5th, 6th grade, when things happen in the classroom or things happen between them and other students, be the mature adult and handle it in a calm situation. And you don't have to bring it to social media, honey, because what we going to do? What we going to do? You telling us what we going to do? Nothing. Go to the schoolhouse, ask to speak to the proper authorities, speak with your child, the other children or child involved, try to speak with their parents. There's steps to take. It's called a chain of command. There's steps to take to see what's happened. Once you find out somebody's bullying your child, you talk with them. And most times the other parents, they'll be more than glad to help reprimand their own children. Sometimes they just don't know. And then if you find out that your child, was really the cause of everything happening, you get a chance to talk to your child and discipline your child and let them know this is not the way we conduct ourselves, So there's always a way to solve a problem, but you got to be able to do it with a right mind. Because I'm telling you, your child ain't perfect. My child ain't perfect. Nobody's child is perfect. And I know we have some children that don't bother nobody, but somebody always want to bully our children that don't bother nobody. And there's a way to handle that as well. There's a way to handle everything, but you got to have a sound mind. You can't go out there in your bonnet and pajamas and bedroom shoes, honey, cussing and fussing and just acting ridiculous. You can't get nothing solved that way. You got to learn how to communicate. Okay? And you're going to have to take communication skills with you all your life. And then you teach your children how to come to a resolve without turning up on somebody, without crashing out. If your child see you crash out all the time, guess what? You're teaching them that when something happens, we don't communicate, we crash out. And see, then little Billy Bob or little Mary Sue, they turn 17, 18, then they get a life sentence because they done crashed out on somebody because they stepped on their new pair of Jordans. We are the examples. We have to teach our children, learn how to communicate, learn how to resolve issues without going to jail or ending up in a box. Okay? All right. Love y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow.